Alright, so there's no Australian bushfires here in the state of Vermont. And you guys may be wondering that, well, I guess reason number one would be is because it's Vermont and it's not Australia, and it's actually snowing right now, and some of you guys are probably wondering why I'm up here in a rear-wheel drive roadster, because I can. And you know, you gotta have your snow tires on, right? You gotta have your Michelin's on. But if you do, you gotta be really careful, keep the RPMs pretty low, or just take your road bike out if you want to make sure nothing goes wrong in the car. But yeah, so something fascinating that I learned recently, so it is really sad what's happening over in Australia, and you know, my intentions and prayers are with all of you, and I just want to I want to make sure everything works out over there. But part of the reason I didn't even realize why this is happening, part of the reason is, so Australia has a really dry climate right now, and it's partially because of a lot of deforestation. So you have a lot of deforestation, you don't have the clouds that go over the trees, and you don't get the moisture in the air, so you don't get rain. And I never thought about it that way, but that's really interesting, and that makes perfect sense to me. And I always often wondered why in Vermont there's more rain than some of the more southern parts of New England, and I guess that's because here there's just lots of trees. And funny thing is, in Vermont, a lot of the trees are replanted. A lot of New England, actually, it's because you go in the middle of the woods. If you're ever in New England, you'll see some brick walls, and you wonder why that is. But it's from some land, and it's still there, and the trees are new trees. They've just grown. They're not like the redwoods in California or anything like that. Well, in the redwoods you'd probably find Ewoks there too. I mean, I'd love to see an Ewok in real life. That would be so cool. Let me know in the comments if you've seen an Ewok in real life. I want to see one. That's on my bucket list. But anyways, like I said, it seems like there are a little bit more trees here, even though there is a little bit deforestation, which is sad because there's a lot of dairy production here. You still have a lot of trees, and it is very cloudy. You do get some nice cloudy overcast days, but it's more of a spring fall thing, and there is some now obviously because it's snowing. But in Australia, most of the meat and dairy in Australia is grass-fed, and which people usually associate with better for the environment, but in reality you cause a lot of more habitat destruction. You get a huge loss of biodiversity. So that's one of the reasons why grass-fed animals can be very destructive for the environment. Any animals, because then if you feed animals in you know, a factory farm or something like that, you have to give them antibiotics so they don't get sick, and like, that's just cruel to the animals. Why would you breed them into existence just to go through that? It's one of the most like disgusting things I've ever seen in my entire life. So either way, it doesn't seem to be a very good option. So what do you think the option? I think the option is to what you should do is you should not eat any animal products. So like a vegan way, you know, where you care about what goes on and whatnot. And I know it's tough, and I know, you know, people may make fun of you and say, oh, you're vegan, where do you get your protein from? And it's like, look man, like if I had a protein deficient, I think I would have figured it out last year or something. I'm like 2.5 years. How many years? 2.5 years. Yeah, I think we're okay. And use so little emissions, right? I mean, I like to ride a bike sometimes, so I don't have to. Well, my car lasts longer, which makes it more eco-friendly, and two, you don't have to take the car everywhere. You know, you can. It is really one of the best things you can do is ride a bike. It's really good. But I'm in the car today. I have a very small, efficient vehicle. Not coming through with a big Chevy Suburban. You know, some people do. I'm not coming through with the Tesla Model X because those are very harmful to the environment. Because you have that big battery, like what do you do when that fails? Like you just throw it in the landfill. Like what do you do? That's terrible. In reality, in a perfect world, I think we'd have like a bike system, so more people could bike, and it'd be safer on the road for more cyclists. I think that would be really good. Or just smaller vehicles are so much more efficient. I mean, how many people do you really have mad people in your car like every single day? Like I have a friend, he has a WRX and he has like 5 seats and he's like, I don't want mad people in my car. And I'm like, you bought a 5, well I get it. Like some cars only come in a 5-seat configuration, but yeah, you know what I mean. But man, it's great. And the bike's so great too, because the bike, you know, it helps people with anxiety and stuff. That's one of my favorite things. I like to help people with anxiety. So eating enough carbohydrate and riding the bike, it's great. So you don't have to get stuck taking like all these like medications and, you know, just end up like doing drugs or like, you know, it's terrible. That's how Juice WRLD died. So I don't want anybody to wind up like Juice WRLD. But man, we've gone off on this tangent. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great. Like if we can plant more trees. I saw Mr. Beast doing a video where he's trying to plant as many trees as possible. That was really, really cool. So if we can plant more trees and have less of a need for deforestation, I think we could solve a lot of issues together. Leave a like if you want to solve all the issues together and we can get it done. And also leave a like that we don't do a burnout in this car when we're heading home. Man, I wish I lived here. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on living here. Mark my words. I have a whole playlist of videos. I'll probably add this video to that playlist. But yeah, no Australian fires in Vermont, which is really, really good thumbs up. I'm keeping Vermont weird. And another thing that's great is no matter who you are, they seem to accept you. They don't care if you're vegan or you're lesbian or whatever. Like they just accept you, and I think that's fucking awesome. That's so awesome. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Vermont views are amazing, and remember to stay healthy, stay active, stay vegan. Peace, guys.